Hello. I know I just did a Beam update video, but Beam's updated once more, and after some technical difficulties, I figured I might as well be consistent for once and make a video for this one too. This is the Covet, one of Beam's older cars, and they've remastered it for this update. It now features a ton of configurations, a word I've come to hate since I used it so much last time, but it's the word the devs use, including the racing spec that I'm using for this intro. Apparently inspired by racing of old, we'll get back to that shortly, the devs have decided to give this car a mid-engine layout. It is perhaps not the greatest way to give you a first impression of the new Covet, but hey, spectacle over substance is how I've always done things, and I'm not changing now. Now, bad driving aside, I actually like the way this race car handles. It's not as fast as the racing version of the Scintilla, for instance, see my last Beam video, but it's infinitely more stable, and that is nice. As long as you pay more attention than me, I'm sure you'll be fine. The Covet has a few more configurations that I'm interested in showing in this video, so instead I'm going to take a lazier approach. Along with this race car, I'm just going to show you two rally specs, but at least I'm doing it with some cinematic flair. This is, of course, definitely not the right track for this sensible rally car, but I'm driving it here anyway because it's fun. I highly doubt it'll survive a lap, but really, who cares? I never used the Covet much pre-update, so I don't know if this is a change, but the Remastered Covet doesn't get all-wheel drive. So, no crazy 80s Group B 4-wheel drive, but that doesn't mean these cars aren't decently quick. That'll be more apparent with the next car I show you. Despite its more sensible speed, meanwhile, this car was certainly taking a battering. Just listen to this sound. This is not the sound of a happy car. Have a couple fun slow-motion shots of this jump because I want the video to be longer. Remember how I said I doubted the car would survive a lap here? With the power of post-commentary, I am always right. Not to worry, though. Still one more version of the Covet to show you, and I'm sure with this one, nothing could go wrong. Yes, as I said, another rally car. Despite not having an all-wheel drive variant, the Covet does still have a Group B configuration. Clearly the devs were inspired by a certain Renault. Similar to the racing version of the Covet, I find this surprisingly easy to drive. Don't get me wrong, it's still clearly a rear-wheel drive car on gravel, but it's actually pretty manageable. Yeah, okay, maybe not. Let's, give that another try. With a new car, it is as if nothing ever happened, and I attack the rally stage with extreme caution. This time, I am very careful not to drive off a cliff. In fact, I ruined several takes by running into rocks on the inside of this corner. What, you thought I managed this entirely perfect driving in one take? Think again. I can't drive. The fun thing about making a fairly quick-paced video for an update is that you've got to come up with something to say all the time, so I'll just mention that this car apparently has a few new features, including an animated shifter and a functional odometer. Both of these things have been added to every car in the game, with the exception of the shifter for the T-Series. The Covet also gets a bunch of racing interior parts, which I thought were already a thing for some cars, as well as openable doors. Now that I've run out of interesting things to say about the Remastered Covet, though, let's move on and talk about another new thing. Yes, the devs have finally added a simple but sorely needed feature: motion blur. The default setting is way too high for my taste. This isn't a Need for Speed game, but once it's lowered a bit, the game looks so much nicer. I haven't been using motion blur so far in this video, but from now on I'm probably leaving it on all the time. It certainly lends itself to those cinematic bits I like to do. That looked pretty good, didn't it? Now I'll follow it up with some footage that really doesn't. Yes, the final major thing I'll show you in this video is the updated AI traffic. This update simplifies the physics of the traffic cars a bit, allegedly making them perform better even with more cars spawned. I say allegedly because I'm pretty sure my game is currently lagging worse than it did with traffic pre-update, so maybe they've increased the spawn amount a bit too much. On the bright side, the simplified physics work very well, and I didn't even really notice a difference unless having a very specific crash. I'm pretty sure each panel of the traffic cars only deforms one way, which is why you get this weird deformation if you T-bone a four-door sedan. Regardless, I'm not really going to be using traffic too much anyway. It's just too laggy for my purposes. I'm sure there's settings to help with this, but this was the last thing I filmed for this video, and so I was just too lazy to check. Also, those of you who have been playing Beam for a while will remember crash welding. With the AI traffic, you can enjoy that particular bit of nostalgia. For now, though, I think I've strained my vocal cords enough for one day. Actually, about 3 days. I take forever to do commentary now. And so it's time to end. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.